What is going on, everybody? Coach AK back for another episode of Q&A with Coach AK. Like I said, I will be doing these every Friday for the foreseeable future, taking questions that people have asked and that I've gone through with clients and through my own experience, and giving it to people online to be able to use for their own programming, for education purposes, for maybe a different insight or perspective, and just spreading the information that needs to be spread, because we live in a day with vast information, vast access. So I want to be able to provide that type of educational content online to be able to share my passion with others and all that good stuff. So this week, we're going to get right to the question. So the question of the week is, do I have to track my food to lose weight? Very, very good question. Very, very common question. Very, very controversial question. Multiple different ways to look at this. So we're going to get into it, because this may, again, be a little bit lengthy, because I wrote down several points that I want to cover to give you guys a better, clearer perspective on, maybe what option is best for you, and what typically works for the average person that we see in the gym setting, or even just in the regular world setting. So the answer that I'm going to give to the question of, do I have to track my food in order to lose weight? And the answer is no. You do not have to track your food. Absolutely not. However, there are some key points to keep in mind if you are not going to track your food, and realize also the benefits of tracking your food and how it can help you reach your goals. So, a few points to take away with my answer, first of all, is that one, tracking is the most accurate way to be able to gauge if you are consuming enough food for your goals. So if you want the most clear-cut way of going about it, the most optimal way, the most efficient way, then tracking your food in a macro tracker, MyFitnessPal, one of those type of um, applications, that is going to be the most accurate way. Number two, tracking for at least a couple of weeks can be very beneficial for your future dieting experiences. So even if you plan to not track, if that's just not for you, then at least maybe consider tracking for a short period of time, just to kind of get an idea of what foods contain which nutrients, the kind of balance that works for you, so you can keep implementing those same habits throughout your journey. And number 3 point, as far as tracking goes, is you'll probably have to exercise more discipline and more restraint with your eating if you're not tracking. So just kind of keep those things in mind. All right, so as far as the points, I got 6 points here for if you're not tracking, kind of things to do, things to keep in mind, things that may help you be successful and help you stay on track and actually reach your goal without tracking. Again, we already covered that tracking is the most efficient way, the most optimal way, and the most accurate way. So if that's what you're after, if you want to cut straight to the chase, if you don't want to take chances and take time to figure out things what works for your body, I would say calculating the macros that you need to be consuming. That's protein, carbs, and fats, the total calories that come from those, of what you need to be consuming to reach your goal. So if it's to lose a certain amount of body fat over a certain amount of time, how much you need to be eating to lose so much per week in order to reach that number, or you can even do that for gaining weight and gaining muscle. Tracking, again, will let you know that you are in the vicinity that you need to be in as far as nutrient intake. So now, 6 points if you are not going to track. One, I suggest that you have an idea of how much protein you need for your current goals, and then try to hit that daily. So protein, we know, it's not even negotiable. That is literally one of the most important things that we consume on a day-to-day basis. Way more than just for muscle mass, muscle retention, and muscle gain, but there's hundreds of processes in the body that take place that require protein in order to do so. So protein is is absolutely foundational and non-negotiable when it comes to a healthy lifestyle or healthy eating. So figure out how much protein you need. There's some formulas you can do. Basically, if you just want to play it super safe and not really have to do much calculation or anything like that, just take about um, let's say anywhere from half a pound to a pound of your body weight. Try to match that in protein, closer to that one gram of protein per pound of body weight, and that'll be in a pretty safe bet. If you're able to calculate your lean mass, that's everything outside of body fat mass, and basically eat that amount of protein, then you know that at the bare minimum, that's going to cover your needs. Number two, so again, number one is to figure out how much protein you need to be consuming for your goals, for your body size, for your weight, for your age, and then try to make sure you're hitting that every day. So breaking up through your meals, however many meals you eat a day, if it's 3 square meals, make sure that it has a good amount of protein per sitting, and maybe throw in a snack of protein here and there if need be, and make sure that you're doing that regularly. That's going to help with satiety, keeping you full longer. That's going to help you to again retain and build muscle mass. That's going to help you recover better from just life stresses and physical activity, mental activity, and so many other things. So make sure that you're getting an adequate protein, tracking or not tracking. Number two, get familiar with labels and get familiar with serving sizes that's on these labels, because I'm going to tell you, this may blow your mind once you start picking up labels and reading exactly how many calories and so forth are in a lot of the foods that we consume, especially the stuff that's on the inside of the grocery store, your more processed shelf foods. Definitely get used to that, because what people think are serving sizes and what are actually serving sizes usually are way further away. So people say, well, I didn't eat that much ice cream. I only eat a little bit every day, so I'm not sure, that can't be why I'm stalling, and not realizing that they're eating 3 servings of ice cream every day that they think would be 1 serving. So make sure you're familiar with serving sizes. That way, as you're picking foods to include into your diet, that you or at least are sort of aware of how much you may eat or need to eat or should eat of that particular food item in order to continue to reach your goals. Just throwing it at the wind and just eating whatever you see typically is not congruent to losing body fat effectively, unless you're someone who just naturally can lose, the people who were always skinny gain a little bit of weight, and then they just eat a little bit less and lose. But the average person, definitely you want to be aware of serving sizes. Number 3, now this is, again, these are all recommendations, suggestions. If you're not going to track, just things to keep in mind that can really help you to make sure you're still reaching your goals. So number 3, stick to minimally processed whole foods and limit the fun foods. So I don't consider junk foods, what most people call junk foods. I don't really like that term. Foods are not bad by themselves. If you eat 1 Twinkie a day and that's all you eat for as long as you can, you will still starve and die. The Twinkie isn't going to inherently make you fat because you had a Twinkie. It again boils down to calories. So why I say to choose mostly minimally processed whole foods and try to limit and kind of curve some of the fun foods is the fun foods, or the junk food, tends to be very high in calories, and it tends to not be very satiating. It tends to not fill you up very well. So it's very much easier to overeat, to overconsume, and to not be able to have restraint when it comes to these foods. It's like I give the example, who do you know in this world that is going to overeat chicken breast and broccoli? I don't know of anybody that's going to gain weight eating that every meal. But if you're eating casserole and butter bread with a dessert and you're trying to moderate that, you're going to probably have some issues, or you're going to be eating like 1 meal a day, which is very much not advised either. So if you stick to the whole foods, they tend to be more filling. They have a higher nutrient content, so you're getting more of those micronutrients that you need, the vitamins and minerals. You can get much better adequate protein, because a lot of your processed foods are very low in protein, very high in carbs and fats. So the minimal processed foods are easier to control, easier to portion size. And again, it's very unlikely that someone is going to overeat whole food, minimally processed foods. It just doesn't really happen like that. So that will help you a lot with being able to control the amount that you eat and control hunger levels if you're not tracking your food to know exactly how much to eat each day. All right, number 4, be very careful with random snacking. This can get anybody in trouble no matter what you do, but if you're not tracking and you have no idea how many calories you're consuming each day, random snacking can really, really, really hurt you. So, you're getting the kids a snack. Oop, you drop a few M&Ms out of the bag. So, hey, might as well eat them. And then now you're cooking dinner. You've got the meal ready. Oh, let me just try a few bites. Oh man, it's really good. I'm gonna try a couple extra bites. Your kid doesn't finish his food. Well, I hate to throw away that good food, so I'm gonna finish off his plate. By the end of the day, you've gotten an extra 1,000 calories off of these little tiny bits of food, little bitty snacks. The candy that's at work, that's at the front desk that everybody can grab, and you grab 2 or 3 pieces when you walk by each time. Well, 6 pieces of little mini candies, that's like 200-300 calories right there of just those little bitty tiny candy things. Yeah. So definitely be careful with random snacking. Try to have structure. I'm going to get to this on another point, but just to tap on it a little bit with the random snacking, have structure. Have, like, again, you have the 3 square meals and a healthy snack or 2 thrown in the middle of there, if need be. Try to just stick to those meals. Try to stick to those meal times, even if the food changes. And that way you're just in that habit, that routine, and you can avoid high hunger, which is going to lead you to snacking extra. So number 5, watch out for liquid or extra calories. So this is a big one that you see, especially when it comes to things like salad dressings, condiments like ketchup and barbecue sauce and mayonnaise and Miracle Whip and so forth. Your liquid calories, coffee creamer is one that gets a lot of people. People can easily get hundreds of extra calories a day off of just some coffee creamer. Matter of fact, for example, I use the sugar-free coffee creamers, and I weigh it out. I actually track it, because just off of 2 tablespoons of it is like 20 or 30 calories, I believe. And 2 tablespoons of coffee creamer is not very much unless you're having little bitty cups. So it's very easy to get a whole bunch of extra calories there, especially if you're an avid coffee drinker, or, energy drinks, if you're getting the I guess, real sugar versions, the regular sugar calorie versions rather than the sugar-free versions. Those are going to add a whole bunch of extra calories. People that drink regular soda, especially throughout the day, they tend to get 5, 6, 1,000 extra calories just from those drinks each day. Doesn't even include their food. So definitely watch the liquid calories. Number 6, you want to form a standard meal plan or meal structure and watch how your body responds to it. So this kind of goes to that structure that I touched on with point 4. Having an idea of what foods work for you, having an idea of, calorie controlled foods, again, those whole food, minimally processed foods, just having that structure can really help you. If you go out to eat, you already kind of know, hey, I'm trying to lose weight right now, so I'm trying not to just eat a bunch of calories. So I'm going to go with the salad. I'm going to go with the vinaigrette, because I know vinaigrette has way less calories than full fat ranch or something of that sort. Or I'm going to get this chicken breast or the steak with some mixed vegetables instead of the pasta, or whatever it may be. You can make different little choices like that. And as long as you're keeping those same principles of that meal structure, like, hey, each meal I'm going to have a lean meat, I'm going to have a serving of vegetables, and I'm going to have a healthy carb source, and that's my meal. And if it's dessert, maybe I'll have a piece of fruit or just a very small dessert. And that way you're just kind of staying in control, because the biggest thing of this is controlling yourself, controlling ourselves. And this can be very difficult, and it can still be difficult with tracking, which is why I say, no, you don't have to track, because some people, the stress of tracking and the stress of trying to keep up with all these numbers and blogging everything every time they eat can actually be overwhelming and lead them to binge eating, or lead them to not being able to stick to a plan because of the stress of tracking, when, maybe they would be better at just watching what they're eating, picking certain foods instead of other foods, limiting certain foods, and having structure, and watching their serving sizes, all these different things, which you can kind of do on the go, a little bit easier than pulling out your phone, trying to weigh things, asking, well, how much does this piece of meat weigh? All those things. So um, definitely that these 6 points are just 6 things that you can do if you're not tracking your calories, if you're not tracking your macros. They don't have to be done. Again, these are just suggestions that can really set you up in a good place, because it can be very difficult. You can have a few good days where it's like, oh, I'm picking healthy options, all that, then life happens. Susie brings some donuts to the office because it's National Donut Day of the week again, and then you have a couple, then it's like, well, I already did this, and then you feel like a failure. Then it just leads into a cycle that, many of us have been into. So again, the more structure that you can have, even if you're not tracking, is going to make the whole process a lot easier for you. So hopefully I thoroughly answered this question, at least enough to give you some guidance and, kind of help you set up what you're going to do. So hope that it helped. Like I said, the question was, do you have to track your food to lose weight? And the answer is no, you do not. So if you didn't catch the tips, if you didn't catch the suggestions earlier in the video, then hey, go check it out again. Appreciate you guys for listening and tuning in this week. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. I will answer you specifically. And then, if it's a good question, I will, use it for one of these question and answers, because again, many people get helped by something like this, because many people have the same questions and don't realize it. It may be worded differently for different seasons, but most people have the same questions because it's the same. Health and fitness is there. It's pretty much all the same at the end of the day. So, we're all different. We're all individuals, and things need to be customized and individualized for each person. Hence, the benefit of having a online coach that will help you organize everything and set up your diet plan, and then change things as you go along to make sure that you're progressing and get to your goal guaranteed. But if you don't do that, you can do this on your own and just have structure, have discipline. Just know that if you're going to do any type of fat loss, any type of diet, it's going to require restraint. So that restraint could either be by tracking. The restraint could be by not eating certain food groups or limiting certain food groups, limiting certain types of food. That restraint may be eating smaller portions. That restraint, there's many different ways to bring the restraint that's needed in order to lower calories down that don't involve tracking. But again, I have to admit, it is the most accurate way to go about it. So like I said, you guys have any questions, let me know. If you guys need coaching, want coaching, you're looking for somebody to hold you accountable, you're looking for someone that knows what they're doing, that's been there on both sides, as far as personally and as far as a coach, working with different types of people, different type of metabolisms, different type of backgrounds, different type of health issues. And if that's what you want and need, and you want that accountability, you want someone that's going to be able to say, hey, if you follow this plan and you stick to it and you communicate, I guarantee you are going to achieve your goal, then feel free to reach out. Shoot me a message. If you have my number, shoot me a text. We'll talk. We'll get on the phone. We'll get on a video call, go over where you're at, go over your health history, and, be able to formulate a plan together that you're going to be able to stick to. And of course, I do in-person training at Crunch Fitness in Norman. So if you'd rather have the real deal and learn how to train the best way possible for yourself, then hit me up and we'll link up in person. So love you guys. Hope this was helpful. You'll have a great weekend. Love, peace, chicken grease. Skip the chicken grease if you're dieting. We're out.